Great. So I think we can get started. So first of all, I want to thank each and every one of you guys that are here, whether we have 2, 5, 10, 20 people. I really appreciate each and every one of you guys taking your time to come in here and listen to us, listen to what we have to say to help you in this journey. So the reason I kind of decided to bring someone like Lance in here, I've known Lance for a while, and I know that what he does can help you guys regardless of whatever stage that you are in. We're in quarantine right now. So many people have so much time in their hands. They don't know what to do with it. And as a result, they're getting either a lot of stress, they're getting a lot of anxiety, and they don't know how to cope with it, because this is something that I don't think it has happened in our lifetimes before, where we're actually forced to stay at home, right? So I know that Lance is the guy for this. And before we get started, Lance, I just want to thank you for joining me in this live stream. Drop all the knowledge in here, and let's take it from here, brother.
Thank you. I really do appreciate it. And I thank you for inviting me. This was a surprise and a pleasant one at that. So thank you very much.
It was so random though. Like, we did it out of nowhere. Hey, Lance, I think that maybe the people that follow me on Facebook can, really get to use the things that you can tell them, the tips that you can give them, because Lance has helped people prevent from committing suicide. He has helped people make changes in less than an hour. I literally help people quit cigarettes and stuff like that. So I know that you guys are going to get tons of value. So without further ado, Lance, for anyone who's here that's watching you and that doesn't know who you are, why don't you just give us a quick overview of yourself?
Yeah, well, my name is Lance Sinclair. I'm a mentalist and a hypnotist. I've been doing mentalism for around 12 years now. That is the art of reading minds, influencing people's thoughts, reading people, and sometimes predicting things, predicting what people will do, what people will think, and things that are otherwise impossible for anyone to know. I've been doing hypnosis for about 7 to 8 years now. I started as a street hypnotist. What that means, I used to do hypnosis solely for entertainment purposes, so making people forget their names, giving them catalepsy so they can't move their body from the neck down, or can't open their eyes, or they hallucinate something, right, or forget how to count, or forget.
I just got goosebumps because the thing is,
pretty crazy stuff.
People might hear you, and say, oh, well, that's cool, but it's such a different experience when you actually get to experience that in person. And that's why I think that having Lance in here is so powerful, because the thing that he has done, I've actually benefited from personally, right? So
yeah, and to touch on that, what you benefited from is not street hypnosis, but hypnotherapy. And hypnotherapy. That was a transition that I made, a couple years into hypnosis. I realized that this is a really powerful tool. It's an amazing tool for change, an amazing tool to reprogram our mind and for us to reach new levels of thinking, getting rid of limiting beliefs, getting rid of fears, anxieties, and all of that crap, right? Tony Robbins calls it BS, belief systems.
Yeah.
Right? Getting rid of all of that and tapping into our fullest potential. That's what hypnosis allows us to do in record time. If you look at the research, hypnotherapy is more effective and also faster than cognitive behavioral therapy, than psychotherapy, than counseling. It's amazing. And then from that, I delved into neuro-linguistic programming, which is the science or technology of reprogramming or programming the mind through language. It's another amazing change.
Yep.
That's
the craziest part though is that reminds me when Tony, I was hearing a talk from Tony Robbins when he was basically telling people how he was getting called out by every psychologist in the United States when he started to actually make people develop changes instantly, right? And then everybody was just calling them out, and then it just went off from there, right? So to get this started, Lance, I just want to see if you can share with us the most shocking change that you've helped someone accomplish?
Yes. Okay. You say shocking, and I have instantly, I know exactly what to share with you. There's a really crazy experience I had with a friend. Honestly, I think I'll never forget it. Because, as a hypnotist, you help people with all kinds of different problems. And naturally, the first time you help someone with stage fright, you're like, oh, wait, help someone with their stage fright, right? It's like a little gold star for you, right?
Mm-hmm.
First time you help someone quit smoking, that's also like an accomplishment, right? You just reached a new level. Mm-hmm. But this was really, really interesting to me because what I did with this person, nobody has ever done in the industry. And I'll explain to you what it is. So if you're watching this, you may or may not know what narcolepsy is. Narcolepsy is a medical condition that is diagnosed by a neurologist that basically means you have difficulty sleeping at night, and during the day you get drowsy, like randomly drowsy, uncontrollably drowsy for no reason whatsoever. And even if you had a full night's sleep, you will get sleepy during the day, and you can't control it. So you start falling asleep at work, you fall asleep anywhere you are. It's really dangerous because you can fall asleep driving. It's insane. And so it's obviously a chemical imbalance. And what's really interesting about that is this friend of mine came up to me and she said, I've had this issue for a long time and I was wondering if you could help me with this. And she explained what it was, and I'm like, I don't know, maybe. So I reached out to my mentor, one of the greatest, to me, the greatest hypnotherapist in the world right now, Freddie Jackman, father of Anthony Jackman, someone else that I learned from. And I asked him, I'm really fortunate to have him on Facebook. I reached out to him and I asked him what
our social media right there.
Yeah, amazing, right? So I reached out to him and I asked him, has this ever happened? Have you ever had a client with narcolepsy? He said no. And then I asked him, what would you do? And he told me basically what I already had planned, and that is to hypnotize the subject. And while in the trance state, to give suggestions of energy, of sleeping well at night, and being energized and alert throughout the entire day. Now, for those of you that don't know what hypnosis is or how it works, in essence, it is an altered state of consciousness where we go through the conscious mind and surpass what we call the critical faculty, the part of your brain that rejects ideas. We surpass that and we enter the subconscious, where we can implant suggestions, we can eliminate fears and get rid of anxiety and change habits and all kinds of things. And so while a person is in an induced trance, which is almost like a somnambulistic state, it's kind of like sleeping but not exactly. Mm-hmm. The subconscious mind is awake and picking up on everything the hypnotist is saying. That's being absorbed by the subconscious mind. When the person wakes up, which is not like waking up from sleep, it's more like coming out of a daydream, if you will. Mm-hmm. You'd agree, right? That's what it's like.
I've been through it.
Yeah, so when the person comes out, now they have that change. So everything the hypnotist said now is their new reality. Now the issue with a person with narcolepsy is when I got on the phone with her, by the way, I did this without video chat, it was not in person, this was over the phone, like this. The issue is that just me explaining to her what was going to happen got her sleepy because of her narcolepsy. So I couldn't even have the conversation that I normally have with people beforehand because she was snoring on me, right? And Shanice, if you're watching this, I love you, okay? So, I'm explaining to her this is what's gonna happen, blah, 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 and then I hear her snoring. And I'm like, Shanice, hey, wake up. She wakes up. And I'm like, okay, what was the last thing you heard? I'm like, I don't remember. Okay, so I start all over again. I did that twice. And then I realized, okay, this is not gonna work like that. But then I remembered something that, it's common knowledge in hypnosis, but we don't usually use it. And it's something that Earl Nightingale and many other big self-development names have talked about. And it's that when you're sleeping, you can give yourself suggestions. You can give yourself hypnotic suggestions. And the way you can do that is by recording your own voice and saying things like, I am X, whatever.
Like affirmations and stuff like that.
Like affirmations, yeah. But the reason why that works is because when you're sleeping, that critical faculty, the critical factor, the thing that rejects any idea, goes to sleep as well. And your ears are functioning still. Has it ever happened to you? Someone's in your home or in your bedroom and you're sleeping, but what's happening in your room is affecting your dreams?
Consciously, I don't think so. Maybe. not as far as I can remember right now.
Okay, well, it's happened to me, and it happens to a lot of people, and maybe it's happened to you unconsciously. But
maybe
like, if something happens, like something falls in my room and I don't wake up, it alters what happens in my dream. And so your ears are always. You have a question?
No, I was going to add to that. You know what I find amazing though, now that we're talking about dreams, is how we can have the most scary nightmare. How we can, have this horrible thing, right? How we can be dreaming of this horrible thing, and then we wake up, our heart is beating at like 100 miles an hour. We're waking up sweating and stuff like that. So it's just amazing to see how the mind cannot pick up whether something is happening vividly or when it's not. It's just amazing to me. I just wanted to add that in there.
No, and there's a reason for that, and it's exactly what I said, right? When the critical faculty is asleep, whatever is there is real. So we got to understand the mind does not know the difference between what's real and what's imagined. So if you're dreaming that a dinosaur is chasing after you, right? It's like right behind you and its gigantic mouth is just right there. You're running for your life. Your heart is going to go at 150 beats per minute, You're going to sweat. Your amygdala puts you in fight or flight mode, even though you're sleeping. And adrenaline and cortisol, the stress hormone, is rushing through your body. Your muscles are tense. Everything that would happen, even your intestines start contracting, just like when you get anxious, you feel the need to use the bathroom, right? All these changes happen, but you're dreaming. There's no real threat. So why is that? Right? You wake up and, like you said, you're like,
what's going on? Nothing's happening, right?
You're panicking, but you realize there's no real threat because, again, your brain cannot distinguish between what's real and what's imagined. The same thing is true in hypnosis. So although the person's not really, for example, the person is not really speaking in front of an audience, right, while they're hypnotized, if under hypnosis we tell them that they're, to visualize an audience in front of them and to visualize them speaking confidently and fearlessly in front of that audience, the brain registers that as, okay, I am confident and fearless in front of an audience. So it becomes real for the subconscious mind. That's how we program it, right? Same as with smoking. If I tell the person now under a trance that the smell of cigarettes is disgusting to them, the taste is disgusting to them, they no longer desire cigarettes, that is their new reality. And the reason why that's their new reality, it's because the mind cannot tell the difference between what you're imagining or what you're being given as a suggestion and what's the objective truth, right? You know what that reminds me of?
That reminds me of, I don't know if you remember that time, I think it was during last summer when I reached out to you because I don't know, all of my friends just wanted to go to this theme park over here and I was like, I'm not with it. If I go, I'm only going to the water park. I know my brother is here too, so he definitely knows this part, and he's like my witness in it. I was like, hey, I'm not gonna get in any of the rides. I'm only gonna go in the water park because I like everything that's like related to water, even if it's extreme. I don't know, like before that, it was like I just hate throwing up. And the last reference that I had from going to a theme park was me throwing up. So I'm like, fuck, if I go in here, like I don't want to throw up, like I want to avoid this, but at the same time, like I want to have fun with my friends and stuff like that. So I'm like, Lance, need your help, buddy. And we hopped in a call, and I remember it was like in less than like 4 minutes. You did something. You did what you had to do. Less than 4 minutes it took. It was the same day I went to a theme park. And when we got to the theme park, I was actually excited to go on those crazy ass rides that I wouldn't have been wanting to go into if before talking to you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's just amazing to experience it in first person.
Yeah, man. Yeah, and it's an empowering thing, you know. And going back to your first question of what was that most shocking experience, so I realized I had to ignore the induction, right? Because I couldn't take the normal route with her. So I said, you know what? Just close your eyes. If you drift off into sleep, that's fine. You know, if you come in and out of sleep, that's okay. Don't worry about it. Your subconscious mind, the fact is your subconscious mind is always listening. It's always picking up on the information around you,
100%.
Even the information that you're not aware of. So I realized, you know, it clicked in my head. I said, you know, I just have to give her the suggestions while she sleeps. And so I spent 45 minutes giving her suggestions for confidence, self-esteem, right? Ego strengthening, sleeping really, really well at night, and being fully alert and energized throughout the day. Now, she's a teacher, okay? So I want you to picture this. If you're listening, picture this. You're a teacher. You're teaching high school students, and in the middle of the class, while you're looking through their papers, you feel this overwhelming sense of weariness. You're fatigued, you're tired, you need to sleep. And it gets so bad,
horrible,
so bad that you need to ask another teacher to come in and replace you for 5 minutes so you can go to the parking lot and take a nap in your car. That's how bad it was. It's a serious thing. And I'll be honest with you 100%. A lot of hypnosis is much like sales, a transfer of confidence, right? Sales is a transfer of enthusiasm. Okay? If you believe in your product, if you believe in your service, the other person will too. Now, why is that so important in hypnosis? Because if the hypnotist does not understand how hypnosis works and believes in his ability to make that change in the person will subconsciously pick up on that hypnotist insecurity. And that insecurity will be a suggestion in itself to that client that it won't work. Does that make sense? So,
100%.
So I had confidence in that it could work, but a part of me was like, I don't even know, because this has never been dealt with before, ever. And, you know, I did the thing, and it was 45 minutes, and I simply hung up when I finished. Next day, I reached out to her in the afternoon, and I asked her, hey, how you feeling? How was your day? You know, after her work day. And it was great. You know, I slept great. I slept amazing. And I didn't feel drowsy all day. And I'm like, okay, cool. Right? It's one day. So I'm like, don't get too excited, Lance, you know? And then the next day, I messaged her again. And I asked her again when the day's over. By the way, I forgot a little detail here, very important detail. That day that I reached out to her, the next day after the hypnosis, when I reached out to her, she was getting ready to go jogging. She had so much energy. After working her whole day as a teacher, she had energy to go jogging. Okay? So day after that, at night, I reached out to her. How you feeling? Again, no drowsiness. I'm like, okay, cool. A week later, I reach out. Nothing's changed. She feels good. Great. Energy, alert, perfect. I'm like, there's something to this. Right? And then a month later, and I'm like really, I'm being mathematical about the contact I'm creating.
Yeah.
I reached out a month later. Hey, how you been for the past month? How's the narcolepsy symptoms? Gone. I'm like, okay, at this point, I've proven to myself that this is fixed, right? And still, part of me is like, yeah, I don't know. I can't believe it. So 6 months after, I reach out again and I bring up this subject because we talked, but I bring up the topic like, oh, by the way, you know, have you ever felt sleepy again? And it's almost as if like that's not a part of her life anymore. Like that's just not a thing.
It's not on her vocabulary anymore.
That to me is beautiful and insane.
Shocking.
And really shocking, because we gotta understand, this is a condition diagnosed by neurologists. This is something, you know, they say there is no treatment or cure for it. It just is what it is. And it just proved to me the power of hypnosis, the power of the subconscious mind. Like, you look into the research.
You know what's crazy right there? I just want to like make a note right there, about the power of the unconscious mind and stuff like that. When was it? It was like 6 months ago. I was listening to a podcast. I don't remember who's. I don't remember if it was Tony Robbins or Jim Rohn that was speaking, and it was about how to get yourself motivated for the next day, even though nothing has happened yet. Like how to wake up in the morning motivated, even though if you go to sleep at 2-3 in the morning, because usually that's the time that I'm done with all my daily tasks, 2-3 in the morning, right? So it was they put up the analogy of kids in Christmas, right? So they stay up late until 1, 2, 3 a.m. in the morning. They go to bed and they wake up at 6, 7 in the morning with the highest energy ever, right? Because they know that something good is awaiting for them. And just being able to apply that into your personal life, it just, you know, goes to show you the power of the unconscious mind, because I was able to apply the same thing for myself, you know? So just by making it seem more, or by visualizing that what was waiting for me tomorrow was going to be better, or that just making me excited for it without it already happening first. You know what I'm saying? So it's just amazing to see it. 100%.
Amazing.
100%. So so let's say right off the bat, 3 things you can do right at this instant to make yourself feel more happy. 3 things. Or happy, not even more happy, just happy. Going from either feeling stressed to feeling happy. 3 things you could do.
Well, I did make a video about this a little while ago, and I'll give you the same answers, but I'll add some things onto that. So to change your state, to feel happier, right? Which is a word that, you know, we kind of have to define, because people confuse happiness with pleasure, right? With a kind of bliss. That's not what happiness is. Happiness is more of contentment, tranquility, being at peace with the current circumstance. That's what happiness
environment
is.
Yeah.
Right? It's not like some kind of high, but you can reach that state of contentment if you feel stressed out, if you feel sad, if you're in any negative emotional state. You can shift and you can start feeling happier by, say, changing your physiology, by moving your body. You know, a lot of people.
Can you go into that a little bit? Can you explain what physiology is for the people that are watching and might not have any idea what that is?
Yeah. So physiology basically is how your body is positioned. You know, your body language. So it's really interesting, right? And please chime in if you've experienced this in your own life. Whenever you are anxious, right? There's a specific response for your body for that specific emotion, right? You might do this thing, bite your nails. You might do this thing, right? Right? Classic. You might play with your clothes. Woman, right? When they're attracted to a guy, they'll start playing with their jewelry. They'll start playing with their hair, right?
Let's go pacifying, right?
What's that?
Let's go pacifying, right?
Yeah. So there are certain body language, let's say, motions that are pacifying movements. So like if you're stressed out, everybody understands what this means, right?
100%.
Right?
So it's like, how can you picture somebody that's depressed right now? They have their head high up or looking down? Are they with their chest up straight, or more like in a crawling thingy, right?
Exactly. So everyone watching, I want you to try this, okay? I want you to sit up straight, so get your chest out, shoulders back, okay? If you have difficulty bringing your shoulders back, simply do this thing, okay? All right? And then bring your chin up slightly and then smile, okay? Hold that position. Seriously, do this. Hold that position and try to feel sad.
You can't.
Try to feel sad. Find your
You can't.
You can't.
It's not cohesive with the physiology of sadness.
Exactly. It's not coherent. Exactly. It's not consistent, right?
Yeah.
Now do this. Cross your arms. Slouch. Look down and off.
I don't want to feel like that.
And make your mouth serious like this. Almost like a frown, but not forced. And then try to feel confident and happy and excited.
You can't.
You can't. You know? Now, with the really amazing discovery that was made is that not only does your body change, does your physiology change where you're in a particular mental and emotional state, but the reverse is also true. So you can change your emotional state by changing your body language. So because your brain interprets this as being happy, right? When all these muscles, tons of muscles in your face activate when you're smiling, because your brain interprets that as you being happy, right? It's like they're anchored, right?
Mm-hmm.
In neurolinguistic programming, there's a term called anchoring. The emotion is anchored to that stimuli. So now if you smile, right, for long enough, even if you're not feeling all that great, your brain will think, well, he must feel good, you know? Just like if you're chewing gum while you're stressed out or anxious, your brain's gonna think, well, if he was afraid, he wouldn't be eating. So we're gonna lower the anxiety.
So that's just signals. So it's just basically signals that you give your brain, and that your brain react to like simultaneously, right?
Yes. In a way, we can say you're hijacking your brain by changing your physiology. So, you know, you hear it all the time. You know, people are angry, like, I need to go out for a walk. Why do they say? Because it works. So if you want to feel happier, you can exercise. You can do some jumping jacks, get your heart pumping. You can do some push-ups. You can go around the block for a walk. You know, get your body moving. Tony Robbins is famous for saying motion creates emotion.
100%.
And it's so true. What you want to do, right? What you feel like doing when you're feeling happy is staying static and kind of closing in on yourself, right? And what you have to do is the complete opposite, so you don't stay in that emotional state. Okay. Simple little thing that I do before I speak in front of an audience, before I perform, before I go on, I stand in front of the mirror in what's called a Superman pose. So I put both my hands on my hips, shoulders.
I do that too. I do that too for going into meetings. It works wonders.
It's amazing. Now, and I urge everyone that's listening to genuinely try this before you do something that you feel a little anxious about, pitching your services, you know, talking to an important individual, someone you're trying to do business with, or anything that makes you anxious. 5 minutes is all you need. 5 minutes. Hands on your hips, chin up, shoulders back, chest out, and smile. It helps if you put a pencil in between your teeth. You can keep the smile there easily. Do that for 3 to 5 minutes. It'll change your emotional state.
You know that right there.
Can I add one little detail to that? What it'll actually do is it'll increase the production of testosterone, and that will make you more confident. So you're actually changing your neurochemistry by changing your body language. Go on.
So you know that right there, I wanted to make I wanted to add something in there where sometimes people go into sales calls or meetings when they are in these limiting states, I would say, or or when they are in these states that they don't feel confident or anything like that, and no wonder they don't get what they were going for, because believe it or not, we can sense without you telling us, or without them telling you, if they are not feeling confident about what they're selling, or if they whatever it is, but people can actually sense it.
Yeah, and they don't necessarily have to be right there with you or even see you through video. It's something that comes through even in your voice, right? How does somebody that's shy sound? Right? Can I get a cup of lemonade, please? Really quiet, really reserved, And you noticed how I naturally, when I was acting like a shy person, I went like this, I went in on myself.
Because your brain already has it associated with...
exactly, we know what that's like, right? And it's not something that you necessarily have to learn, even though I know you and I have both studied this. It's something that it's already inside of us. We can read it off of people, right? And again,
it's more about not learning about it, because that's nothing new. It's more about discovering it. You know what I'm saying? More about exactly. That's the word. Becoming aware of it.
Yeah, that's right. Acknowledging it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or maybe even just learning what the names are for it.
Yeah. So we have a question here. I'm not. So you had two, right? So we needed one more. Was it, or we have the three right there?
So exercise. Okay. Move your body. Change your physiology. Also, it's really useful to before you do that, and you mentioned it briefly, or at least you implied it, notice what is your current physiology. Notice how are you standing? How are you sitting? Right? So like, okay, I'm feeling sad. Okay. Number one, really important, I'm not counting this in the three, but really important, this actually has been proven to decrease your feelings of anxiety or whatever negative emotion you're feeling, is label it. Call it out. Say, I'm feeling anxious right now. By labeling it, what you're doing is you're taking back control. Okay? Next thing you want to do, if you want to reduce that emotion, is put it on a scale from 0 to 10. So you go, I am feeling anxiety right now at a level 6. What that's doing is it's activating the logical part of your brain by bringing in numbers, right? And it's also putting a ceiling on that negative emotion. You're calling it a 6, meaning it's not going to go up to a 7, right? So it's a 6. And you're also, to do that, you're stepping out of the emotion because you're observing it, right? You're saying this anxiety is at a level 6, right? You're stepping out and you're objectively from the outside looking in and saying this is anxiety at a 6 right now. So label it and rate it. Okay, that will significantly improve those feelings and decrease that negative emotion, whatever it is. So then notice what your physiology is, how you're sitting, how you're standing, right? Move. Do something, fix your posture, smile, whatever, do some jumping jacks. Another great thing you can do is instantly shift your focus, okay? Where your focus goes, energy flows, right? So shift your focus. Instead of focusing on what's prevalent making you anxious, ask yourself, okay, what are 3 things I'm grateful for right now? What are 3 things I'm grateful for right now? The fact is, you cannot feel anger or fear or anxiety or any of that if you're feeling gratitude. They just can't.
1,000%.
It's like oil and water. Okay, so 1,000%. Focus on what am I grateful for right now. All right. So say before you're gonna go on a cold call, for example, and you're a little anxious. Okay, what am I grateful for right now? Man, you know what? I'm grateful I have the opportunity to help people with the service that I'm offering them. I'm grateful that I have this knowledge that I can share with people, and that this person is willing to listen to what I have to say. And just change your focus. Tell yourself a different story, because and I do want to go into why we feel the emotions we feel and how we feel them, and this will all tie in together. But it all comes down to the stories we tell ourselves, how we interpret what's happening around us. So ask yourself, what are 3 things I'm grateful for? And don't just say, I'm grateful for the sunlight, I'm grateful it's a brand new day and I'm alive, I'm grateful that I can breathe. No, actually identify the thing and
go in and actually look for things that you're grateful for.
Exactly.
100%.
Feel the gratitude.
So
the third thing is do something good for someone else. Something selfless. Although a little selfish, because it's gonna make you feel good. But you win some, you lose some.
It works.
But it's a win-win, right?
Yeah.
So do something good for someone else. It won't benefit you in any way, help an old lady cross the street,
answering DMs from people.
Anything.
Answering DM from people that may need your help. I do that on a daily basis. Just dropping value without charging people. Anything that you could think of that could take someone from point A to B, it's helping them, right?
Yeah.
So over here, so over here, our buddy William says, how can we take advantage of our time efficiently and get goals done in time? Sometimes we tend to rationalize our procrastination. So how can we keep ourselves in check on a daily basis?
Okay. All right. I'm sure you have some thoughts on this.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna go first.
Yeah.
So there are layers to this question. So he says, how can I take advantage of our time efficiently and set goals done in time? Okay. Sometimes we tend to rationalize our procrastination. So how can we keep ourselves in check on a daily basis? It's interesting you mentioned rationalize our procrastination. There's something I call productive procrastination. And that's when we tell ourselves, when your friends say, for example, hey, you wanna come join us? We have a party, whatever. It's like, I can't because I'm busy. But you aren't. You're just making it up because you want to feel like you're being productive. It's a self-delusion. So it's really interesting. And then we rationalize, like he said, our procrastination. Like I didn't do it because X, right? Mm-hmm. When the real reason is because you don't really want it and you're not motivated enough to do those things. So when it comes to goal setting and using our time efficiently, it all comes down to your why, your purpose, and that's a matter of again, motivation. So there are 2 kinds of motivators.
That's why I started to interrupt you right there, but that's why inside of my dropshipping course and the first few videos, I really go into that, because even though I'm not Tony Robbins, I understand that your why can keep you motivated when, everything seems to be against you. You know what I'm saying? Yes. So I just wanted to put that out there.
Yes, absolutely. And that's a really good point. So, and I'll go back to that because that's essential. So you have external motivators and you have internal motivators. So what is an external motivator? An external motivator is the consequence of not doing the thing. Okay? The consequence of not doing the thing that you want to do. Because there's a part of you that wants to do this thing and another part that doesn't. Right? Now, in hypnosis and neuro-linguistic programming, we just go in and use a protocol called parts negotiation, where we would actually convince the part of you that doesn't want to do this thing to actually want to do it. But if you consciously want to create this change, what I need you to do is this. Ask yourself, what is the consequence? What are the consequences of me not doing this? Not just for myself, but for the people around me that I love. Okay, that's an external motivator. Now, what is an internal motivator? How will this benefit?
What's in there for me?
What's in it for me and the people around me, right? So in order for you to feel motivated enough to take action and use time efficiently and not let it slip through your fingers like sand on the beach, you have to have a strong enough why, a strong enough purpose, and a strong enough motivator, okay? Mm-hmm. Strong enough motivators. What does that mean? Start with what you want. Start with what is the goal? right? What is the objective I'm going for? And then ask yourself, why do I want this? Why is this important to me? How will this benefit me and the people I love? What are the consequences for me and the people I love if I don't make this come true, if I don't achieve this, right? So what we're dealing here is with pain and pleasure. So
ultimately,
all human behavior is motivated by the avoidance of pain and the pursuit of pleasure. That's what it comes down to. A pleasure-seeking mechanism or a protective mechanism. And so if you want to do something and you don't feel motivated enough to do that thing, and it's not, as big of a priority for you, even though you know you have to eventually, right?
Eventually, yeah.
But there are fears holding you back and limiting beliefs and insecurities and doubt and all this stuff and self-image, right? Negative self-image. You need to make the pleasure of achieving this bigger than the pleasure of watching your favorite Netflix series, right? And the pain and the consequence of not achieving it greater than the pain of, you get the idea, right?
Yeah, 100%.
You gotta make that stronger than all the little things. And what it comes down to is also instant gratification versus delayed gratification. We got to understand that the things that are worthwhile in life, you're not going to get overnight, right? And
100%.
And they'll take work and dedication and persistence and discipline.
Nothing worth is built overnight. I post that quote probably 3 times a month on my Facebook page because I have so many entrepreneurs on my Facebook page, and at first when you're starting out, you think that you should get by this point in X amount of time. And what you realize is that you don't, because maybe you're misguided, maybe, you can't, you're starting out, you don't have the right information, you can't really make $1 million overnight, right? So that just goes to that, right?
It's interesting because at some point we've all heard Rome wasn't built in a day. But what we don't hear is that they never stopped laying bricks, right? They never stopped laying bricks, and every single day they were laying bricks, right? And that's how Rome was built eventually, right? So how the question that William is asking really is, how do I find the motivation to take the action, right? And the short answer is your purpose needs to be really clear and really powerful for the pursuit of your goal and objective, so that when it gets hard, because surprise, it will get hard, okay? It always gets hard. You have the strength and the love for what you're doing so strong that the next day, after that hard day, when you wake up, you don't toss a towel and give up. You say, you know what? I need to keep going. And when you're beat down, you get back up and you keep going. It's like, again, I'll give you another analogy. GPS, right? Global positioning system. You put the address of where you're going to on your phone or on the GPS. Nobody uses the GPS little device.
Oh my God.
But you put it in Google Maps, right? You're like, okay, I'm going to this destination, and it shows you a route, right? It shows you which way to go.
Which way to go?
That's important, because if you don't put the destination, how will you know which way to go, right? And that's why. Unless
you've been there so many times, and now you can actually, But for this example, just so we can keep it in mind, we're talking about for that analogy, just to keep it in mind, we're talking about you going to a whole new place that you've never been to before, because there's always the trollers on the comment section. Hey, but what about if I know how to get there already and stuff like that? So I just wanted to get that out of the way.
This is a metaphor, yeah.
All right.
So what that's hinting at, it's the importance of knowing what the goal is first and foremost, right? What, right? It's the what question. What are you going after, right? If you don't know what the destination is, you cannot trace back the steps to get there, right? Which is the actions you need to take the action plan, right? But what's important about that is once you know your destination, you know, sometimes you get off on the wrong exit. Sometimes you
reroute.
You miss your route.
Exit.
But what does a GPS do? Reroutes, right? Because it knows where you're going, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's important to know exactly where you're going.
Damn, I like that analogy.
And know why you're going there. Because when it gets tough, and it will get tough, you will have the grit and the motivation and the discipline and also the love for what you're going after. It'll bring you back up. It'll pick you back up, and it'll put you back on that course.
I think it all comes down to doing whatever makes you happy. And that goes back to a quote that I posted like 2 or 3 days ago that says happiness is better than money, because you have so many people now that, you know, how entrepreneur became something cool. And now you have so many people, oh yeah, I want to become an entrepreneur. I want to do this, I want to do that. But at the end of the day, you know, they rather be playing some sport. They'd rather be playing baseball. They'd rather be playing soccer. Some people actually like their 9 to 5s for whatever reason. You know what I'm saying? So I think that at the end of the day, it's more about doing what makes you happy instead of doing whatever is cool, right? So that can usually get you through the hard times, right? And going back to your question, how can we take advantage of our time efficiently and get goals done in time? Here's my answer. Right there. Checklist. Every day before I go to sleep, I literally go on my checklist. I say, all right, so I have to do this, and that tomorrow. And for me to accomplish that, I have to take these steps. Put in a checkbox next to it, and I make sure that as I'm accomplishing them every day, I go back, check them off the list, and that's how I know that a day was productive for me, because by the end of the day, when I go make the new list, I go and check the old one, and I see what I actually did and what I put up for the next day for whatever reason. So just take an old notebook or little check thing in there, make a checklist every day of the things that you have to do to get that you want to get done, and I promise you that your efficiency is going to go from 0 to 100 in literally a day. You know what I'm saying? In a second.
You know, and I love that. I love that you do that. And you know what it is, it's you realize that just having a goal in your head doesn't make it a goal, it makes it a dream. It's a wish, mm-hmm. right? Mm-hmm. So you put it down on paper. So, you know, it's important that you mentioned, you know what you're going for, and you break down what are the steps you need to take to get there, right? Mm-hmm. Now, again, you find out what you're going for, why you're doing it. But then after that, the next step for you is working backwards.
Breaking it down.
The end goal. What will get me there? What is my next step? What is the plan of action?
You know what's crazy, Lance? That if you was to ask me right now, what's the one thing that I learned in high school that stuck with me throughout my 4 years of high school, and even after I finished high school? Because if you ask me like an equation question from like geometry or something like that, I'm like, what the fuck? I don't know. I forgot, right? But something that really stuck to me was when I was in advisory. There's something we have in here that's called advisory, where they block off for like 15 minutes. You go into that class and you get to like interact with other people and get to catch up, right? So the advisory teacher gave us this analogy where he drew a staircase in the board, right? He says, all right, so think of this staircase. He divided it between 4. Think of this staircase as your high school year. So there's freshman, sophomore, junior, and senior year, right? Right now you are in the beginning. So what you have to do to get through it all is you have to take things step by step by step. You can't be all the way in the beginning worrying about a problem that's going to happen that you think may happen when you are all the way in the top. You know what I'm saying? So it's just about taking things slow and just having patience overall, because the thing is that most people overestimate what they can do in a year, and they underestimate what they can do in a decade or so. You know what I'm saying? Because they just want to get so much accomplished so quick. And what happens is that they start developing anxiety. They start developing these habits or this emotions that make them want to quit the journey. And that's why entrepreneurship is such a lonely game. That's why entrepreneurship, not just anybody can take entrepreneurship. You know what I'm saying? That's why you really got to love what you're doing. And that's why going back to happiness, do what makes you happy the most, right?
Yeah, and you know, that brings us to an interesting point that I wanted to make, and that is, how do we identify what that is?
How do you identify what makes you happy?
Yeah, you know, I when I go to parties, I like to start conversations with people that, to me, show me whether or not I'm interested in being friends with this person. And one of the questions
100%.
I like to ask is, what are you passionate about? What's your thing? You know? And some people don't have an answer for that.
Mm-hmm.
Some people don't.
Or they say, "Damn, man, you're already going too deep in here, bro. Like, I've never thought about these questions myself. Like, what do you have to put me in this spot for?" I love these type of conversations, though.
Yeah, you know, of course, you start with the small talk, but eventually you want to find out if you really want to be friends with this person. And I know this is true for you too. We're very picky with who we let into our circle of friends.
1,000%. That's the one thing that I'm like one of the most pickiest about.
Yeah, and you know, it's got a name. It's a circle of influence, right? You're an average of the people you spend the most time with. So you got to be really careful with who's influencing you, right? And
mm-hmm.
what's the mindset of the people that you surround yourself with? And that comes down to also who you choose as your friends, right? How are you vetting them? You know, so, you know, I ask people this question and it shows me many things about them. And sometimes they don't know what the answer is. Sometimes they kind of are shocked that they've never asked themselves that question.
100%.
And they're like, oh, wow, I've actually never thought about that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and to me, it
happens many times when I'm having conversations.
What's that?
With people. It happens. I hear that many times when I'm having conversations with people. You know, when they come to me for hey, help me, help them this or that. You know.
Yeah, it's very, very common, but it also, like, I guess for us, it's shocking because I don't know. It's just weird. I mean, how are you gonna not know what you enjoy or what lights your soul on fire? I mean, you know, I understand people have different timelines, you know, and we realize these things at different points in our life. But if you are that person, what you need to find out is, what are your core values? What are your core values? And the way you find out what your core values are is by answering this question. And that is, if you could do anything in the world and you weren't paid for it,
Bingo.
What would you do?
So if you could do anything in the world and you weren't paid for it, what would I do?
Yeah.
That's a good one.
You know?
That's a good one.
So if you didn't do it for money is the question, right? Say I don't know, say you didn't have to work, right? That's another way to ask it. If you didn't have to work,
mm-hmm.
right? Financial freedom was guaranteed. If you didn't have to work, if you went out to do something just because you enjoyed it, what would you do, right?
I think that for me would be like public speaking, because I just can not just do something. Like I just can't, how do you put that? I cannot just not do something. You know what I'm saying? Like I just can't pop off and be like, oh yeah, I just want to go to the beach every day or stuff like that. Like, which is fine if that's what you desire. But for me, I just don't see myself doing that. I would probably,
now,
you know, speak
even
publicly.
if that is the person's answer, okay? Because
mm-hmm.
if
it's valid.
If you're watching this, yeah, it is valid and it is revealing. So here's what
mm-hmm.
you do. Whatever the answer is, then you're going to follow it up with another question. And when you do this thing, right, the answer to question
mm-hmm.
1, what does that do for you?
Mm-hmm.
How does that make you feel? Okay? So say, for example, someone says, I'll go to the beach every day, right? It makes me feel free and connected with nature. So then you follow it up with the similar question. And when you feel free and connected with nature, what does that do for you? And you keep narrowing it down until you have like a single word answer. And that is the core value of that individual. It's the one thing that they seek, that they need in their life, right? And there are 6 different human needs that we all share at different magnitudes. But the core value is the thing that's gonna shine some light on what that person should do, right? Because if someone's core value is freedom, right? They like traveling, for example. They say, I will travel the world, right? Their core value is freedom, right? If their core value is freedom, that's not the kind of person that should spend their entire life in an office in some corporation behind a computer screen.
100%.
You know, that's somebody that should be working, socializing with people, not answering the phone or typing behind a desk.
100%.
And even though, say, the corporate position might pay better for that person, the reality is they're going to be miserable because it won't be satisfying that need.
That's why I say all the time that happiness is 100% better than money, and I've got to experience that myself. I'm going to tell you guys a little analogy in a little bit, but here's a question that William asks. It says, what's the difference between meaning and success for you guys? Because you can be successful but be unhappy at the same time.
Okay, great question.
I like that one. Going in deep.
so I'm gonna ask the question in return. The question is, why are you here? If you're watching this, you're here because you want to improve your life. If you're watching this, it's because you want to level up, you know, in maybe your confidence, with finance, maybe your confidence with just, you know, your self-image. Maybe there are certain things you know that have been holding you back, right? Maybe there are certain things that you know have been holding you back, and it's time to make a change, right? Let me just fix here the chargers. So you're here because you want to improve yourself, okay? Now, that means you're in the pursuit of success. Now, we have to define success. And
what does success mean to you?
Success is a different thing for every single person, right?
100%.
Because, you know, for a single mom of 4, success might mean being there for her children, you know, enough that she can spend time with them, but also so she can work and provide for them, right? And have that balance, right? That's success for her, right? Because, you know, it'd be really bad if she has to miss all the time, you know, her children growing up because she has to work, you know, and she has to leave them with a babysitter or whatever, or a nanny, right? That'd be terrible. So for her, success is being an amazing mother, seeing her children grow up, you know, being there for all the important moments, and also being able to provide for them, right? That's success for her. You know, but for someone else, it might be something completely different, like opening up his own business, you know, his own restaurant, you know. So success really is, if we were to define it, I guess the achievement or the accomplishment, right, of whatever is in alignment with your core values.
Core values, 100%. 100%.
That's what it is. And in order to know what that is for you, you have to find out what are those core values, what's important to you specifically, right? And also be aware of what's standing in the way of you getting that, you know? And usually it's ourselves, right?
You know that it's crazy that he asked that question, because sometimes we misinterpret success. And not success, but happiness. We associate our level of success with happiness, when I personally don't think that it should be that way. Because, you know, you have people making $1 billion that, you know, go through things that you probably wouldn't want to go through, right? Emotionally, personally, and stuff like that. So I think that you just have to find the fine line at where, how do you explain this? At where you're not giving up too much of your happiness for the amount of reward that you're going to get back. because it's essentially that's at one point that's what I was doing. You know, I would hustle from, I would wake up at 7 a.m, go to sleep 2 or 3 in the morning, then the next day and stuff like that. But then again, I did that for obvious reasons, for the reward that would bring for my business, right? But then relationships were suffering, friendships were suffering, you know, family relationships were suffering and stuff like that, because I wasn't spending what money can buy, right? So it's like you have to find that fine line to where you're happy and where you're getting enough reward that you're not risking your happiness for that, or just, you know, as you level up, you adapt and stuff like that.
Well, we're talking about money, right? So the important thing to distinguish here is, what is wealth, right? What is wealth, and why do you want more money, right? Why do people want more money? You know, you could own every bank, you could have every single bit of gold on earth, and it won't buy you happiness.
100%.
The reason why people pursue financial riches is so that they can have the freedom to do more of what they enjoy and to spend more time with the people that they love, right? It's really about having this taken care of. So if you decide to go on vacation with your family to some country in the Caribbean, you know, and not worry about your card being declined or whatever, right? You know, it's about freeing yourself from that anxiety and that stress and that weight on your shoulders, right? Like the feeling.
It's about finding balance, yeah.
Uncertainty, right? But the real reason why people pursue that is so they can have the freedom, right? That's why it's called financial freedom. It's so you free yourself from the thought of, oh, but what if I spend too much, you know? Or how much is that? Right? So it's freeing yourself from that so you can enjoy life without money being something getting in the way of that joy, right? Because it sucks the joy out of everything, right? So you know, it's important to define what success is and what wealth is, what real wealth is.
Having it clear for yourself. 100%.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, and the important thing in the pursuit of that, like I said, is realizing that the one thing that stops us is fear. I want you to think about this and answer this question to yourself. What would your life look like? Your romantic life? Your career, right? Business? Your education? Your health? What would every facet of your life look like if you had no fear?
You'll be unstoppable.
What would it look like? What would you be able to do?
So this is a great question, guys. So comment in the comment box. What would your life look like if you had no fear? What would you be able to do? That could go from jumping off a plane with a parachute or something like that. Going in, let's say, scuba diving, something like that. Whatever it is, if you had no fear right at this moment, what would you do, or what would you schedule to do? Something like that.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what are the answers.
Yeah, so somebody said, I told Don a story from my factory job at Toyota where a supervisor wasn't happy with what he does and was happier broke. And because he enjoyed it the most. So come on, guys, give us some. What would you do if? Yeah,
you know, it's amazing, right? Because some people have never even asked themselves that question, and it's really liberating because you know it opens up all these possibilities. It's what if, you know, what if nothing stood in the way of me doing what I wanted to?
What would you answer to that, Lance? I mean,
well, I would do exactly what I'm doing
right now. Thank you for joining us, William. We appreciate having you here. So Yolanda said, I'll be living on a small island, working remotely, drinking a margarita. That's a good one.
Love it.
That's a good one. I'll probably be jumping off a plane or something like that. Like I feel like that's something that I'm probably scared as shit to do. Jumping off a plane with a parachute.
That's an interesting answer though. The one. What's her name again?
Yolanda. I'll be living on a small island, working remotely, drinking a margarita.
Working remotely, drinking a margarita. Yeah. So I wonder, what is that fear that you removed from your mind when you answered that, right? I wonder if it's the fear of starting that business where you are able to work remotely. You know, I wonder what that fear is. That's a great question. It's a wonderful question.
You know that when somebody, it says jumping off a plane is the most exciting thing I've done. I have to try it before I die. So I hope I do try it before that time comes, you know? I have to. Like that's probably the one thing that scares me. Jumping off a plane going that's like what, like 12,000 feet up high or something like that. Something like that. Well, that's probably.
You know what's amazing about fear? Fear is amazing because it's so counterintuitive. You know, there's something you're afraid of, right? And it's like right there, right? The fear's right there in front of you. And it's like, it's like you're frightened. You're like, oh, you know, my stomach's turning. I feel a knot in my chest. The fear's right there. You're face to face with that fear. And you think to yourself, I'm going to walk the other way because I don't want to do business with you. I'm going to avoid you. Now, what happens is when you avoid fear, it actually gains strength and power over you. It grows. Okay? So when you avoid the thing you're scared of, your fear for that thing actually grows. The thing becomes scarier because you're proving to yourself that next time around you have an opportunity to take action. In your brain, you know, you go, well, last time I couldn't do it. I'm not going to be able to do it this time, right? But here's the amazing part. It's a lot like a rainbow, right? You can see a rainbow, but when you go after it, all of a sudden it disappears. You can't catch it, right? Much like happiness too. But fear is the same way. So when you pursue that thing that you're scared of, that thing that makes you anxious, that, you know, you maybe feel a little bit of doubt, right? Makes you feel a little bit of doubt. When you pursue that head on and you do it, even while feeling the fear, what you'll find is that the moment you get started, it dissipates. It just vanishes.
Disappears, 100%.
And you tell yourself, man, actually, it was the fear of starting that I had. It was the fear of getting started, you know? But once you're there, you realize that it's not that bad. You know, and
it's an illusion, right?
It is, you know, and it's funny because that's happened to me hundreds of times before performing in front of an audience. You know, I might feel a little concerned about, you know, whether or not they're going to like this new thing that I prepared for them, or whatever, you know, that I've never done before in front of an audience, you know. And there's a little bit of a fear or anxiety because of that. But once I set foot on the stage, it's like all that boom disappears, and I'm just in my element and super comfortable. So it's really fascinating and liberating when you realize that in the pursuit of the thing that makes you scared, you will actually let go of that fear. So understand that it's counterintuitive.
100%. 100%.
Don't run from the things you're scared of doing. You know, life is short. Life is short. It is fleeting, and I've always told you, you know, that I really feel this, that regret is one of the worst human emotions we could feel. You know, to reach the 100%. End of our lives and everything flashes before our eyes, and you're like, man, I could have done this, I could have done this. But I was 100%. Scared, you know? If you're fortunate to die on your deathbed, you know, surrounded by your loved ones, not only will your family be there around that bed, but so will the neglected dreams that you completely forgot about, the ones you were scared of pursuing. They'll be looking at you dead in the eyes. You forgot about me. You ignored me. And that sucks. That's a scary feeling, man. So I think it's really important to understand that, you know, why live a life in fear, right? So
try new things.
Did we get any more answers, by the way, for that question?
No. If you guys have any questions, I know we've gone over an hour now, an hour and 20 minutes. If you guys have any questions you want Lance to touch on, then don't be scared to drop it on the comment section.
Yes.
Before we wrap it up.
Yeah. So I have a couple of things prepared here. Mm-hmm. I'm going to go through rapid fire. If along the way people have questions, because I'm going to offload a lot of information, please grab pen and paper, okay? This is where the gold is at, all right? So go grab a pen and paper. If this is
Yolanda, for sure, as soon as I'm ready for it.
If this is definitely. So do that. And again, along the way, if you have any questions,
drop it in the comment section, and I'm gonna fire them to Lance as.
Yes.
Thank you.
So I wanted to talk about, you know.
So Lance, before you get started, somebody said, "Who is Lance?" I missed the beginning.
Who asked that question?
Yolanda.
Oh, Yolanda. Oh, hi, Yolanda. So my name's Lance Sinclair. If you joined in late, I'm a mentalist. That means I read minds. I influence people's thoughts, predict their actions, and influence their actions. There's a lot to that. But mainly what we're talking about here is my hypnosis. I'm also a hypnotist. I help people with their fears, anxieties, bad habits, limiting beliefs, trauma, PTSD, whatever. If it's mental, hypnosis most likely can help you get rid of it and overcome it. So yeah, limitless confidence, you name it. But yeah, that's a quick little bio. Thank you for tuning in, by the way, John. So we're gonna go rapid fire here. A couple of points that I wanted to hit here. So we talked about fear, you know, and the opposite of fear is faith. It's faith in yourself. It's faith in your ability, your capacity to see things through, you know, and to overcome any obstacles that stand in your way. So if you're afraid of something, right? Fear of success, maybe, or fear of failure, very common fears. Instead of looking at that, right, and saying, I'm going to avoid success, you know, I'm going to avoid failure, ask yourself this: what is scarier? Success or the fear of success? What is scarier? Failure or the fear of failure? You see, because if you fail, you learn, you grow. But if you're afraid of failing, you're stuck. What happens if that fear takes over you, right? So instead of fearing whatever it is that you're scared of, fear itself. Turn it in on itself like a snake that eats its own tail, right? Understand that it's fear that's standing in the way of you achieving the things you want to achieve in life. So I just wanted to quickly mention that. So
somebody said if you can, as you're saying that, if you can quickly say your opinion on the law of attraction? I think that's an interesting question because people can often get that confused with what you do, right? So
yeah. So who asked that question?
That was Larry, my boy Larry.
Larry, thank you for asking. So, there's this thing that's spread like gangrene. The Secret, right? The book.
So is it real or is it pseudo science? How are you?
It's BS. That's the short answer. And I'll explain why. So, the issue is that people read that and they believe that by them calling out into the universe and saying, I want a bicycle is going to pop in their garage, right? Like, I want a Lambo, and they're going to suddenly one day have a Lambo offered to them for free, because the universe, quote, the universe gives you back whatever you ask of it, or reflects the vibrations of your requests or prayers or meditations, whatever you want to call it. And that's just outright fantasy, Now, why is it that you get all these people that say, well, it's worked for me. It's worked, the law of attraction, it's worked for me. This is why. We got to understand what they're calling the law of attraction is not some weird mystical force. Like you're going to sit here and beg the universe for a job and someone's going to call you and offer you a position at a company that pays really, really well. It's more about where your focus is. And something called the reticular activating system in the brain. So the reticular activating system, it's the part of your brain that basically shows you more of what you're looking for. So people say, I'm really lucky. I have such good luck, right? And some people say, in contrast to that, I have such bad luck. I'm doomed to fail, And what's interesting is that the person that believes they're really lucky sees so much proof of their luck. They get so many opportunities, they meet so many great people, they build so many great connections, and, eventually they also make a lot of money and are really happy. People that believe they're really unlucky, they get into really bad business deals. Their business fails. Everything they touch crumbles. Their relationships destroyed. Why? If you wear glasses, and at one point you didn't wear glasses, you realize that when you put on those glasses, you started noticing everyone around you that wore glasses. It's not because there was a surge in people wearing glasses, it's because you noticed the thing.
Energy goes where focus goes. Energy flows where focus goes, right? That's how the quote goes.
Yeah. If you buy a red car, brand new red car, you've never had a red car before, all of a sudden you notice, there's so many red cars around me. No, it's that you're now exposed to this thing, and this is a new part of your reality, so you're starting to become aware of that. How does all this connect? Simple. The reticular activating system, if you believe you're a lucky individual, you're going to be looking out for proof of that. So when an opportunity pops up, you're going to take it, okay? You're going to grab it. And what happens when you take action usually brings about results, right? If you believe you're unlucky, and there have been social experiments that have been done on this. Like they put $20 bills in the ground, and people who think they're really unlucky and they're really pessimistic, they walk out and they literally miss it completely. They step on it. They don't see the money. Why is that? It's not because their eyes didn't see it. It's because the brain didn't register it. So even though you have all these opportunities popping up in front of you, you won't register it. We don't see with our eyes. We see with our brains. We don't hear with our ears. We hear with our brains. You're filtering your reality. You're interpreting your experience, okay? And now that comes up, let me show you this. Is this on straight or in reverse?
Yeah, it is. No, it's straight. If you can back up a little bit so we can see the whole thing. Here we go.
So
see it perfectly fine right there.
This is called the experience structure, okay? So up here, this is where it starts. It starts with the stimuli. This is something you see, something you hear, something that happened to you. Okay, maybe even a touch. Then it goes into the meaning-making or interpretation stage. After you interpret the stimuli, you feel an emotion. And after feeling that emotion, you respond to that emotion. You react to that emotion. I'll give you an example. Say it's late at night, you got off the train. It's really dark out, it's really cold out. And you're walking from the train station to your home. You're by yourself. And a gentleman a couple of meters behind you, maybe 2 meters behind you, is wearing a hoodie. And he is of a darker skin complexion. He has a hoodie on, his hands are in his pocket, obviously because it's cold. He's walking behind you at the same pace as you. And you look back and you see him. And all of a sudden, you feel fear. All of a sudden, your heart starts racing and you feel anxious. Why? Let's see what happened here. The stimuli is you saw this man. You saw very quickly, your brain processed, he's wearing a hoodie. He's a man, okay, not a woman, a man. His hands are in his pocket. He's tall, maybe, right? And he's got dark skin. Probably, right? And he's walking behind you and you're by yourself. So this is what you just experience through your senses.
Visual.
Exactly. And then we perceive the emotion, which is fear, right? What's the reaction? Maybe you grab your keys and you put a key in between your fingers just in case. Or you start walking briskly, right? As to widen the gap and the distance between the two. Or maybe you cross the street, right? Why? Because there's this story in your head of, what if this happens? What if that happens? Okay? What happens with the experience structure is that we almost always miss this stage right here. The meaning-making stage. The interpretation stage. And this happens really quickly in your subconscious mind. And what guides this is your pre-existing beliefs. Okay? So how do you figure out what caused that? What led to that emotion? Whatever the emotion is that you're feeling. You ask yourself, what would I have to believe for me to feel this way? What would I have to believe for me to feel this way? So that's forcing you to rationalize, right? And use the logic to find out why you're feeling this emotion. And at that moment, the person may not know why they're feeling that. They may just feel the fear and the anxiety. You got a question?
100%. No, 100%. I was just going to add to that sometimes our interpretations are, sometimes based off, let's say, news and external things. Yes. That is just shown to us. News, social media, friends, and things that at some point we don't really have control over until we notice it, until we start seeing it, right?
Exactly. No, exactly. And that's just what I was about to say. Are you reading my mind? I think he's reading my mind, guys.
Becoming a hypnotist.
You're trying to steal my job. That's what you're doing. So yeah, and that's the thing, right? We often miss the interpretation stage. And that's happening at a subconscious level. And it's being guided by your pre-existing beliefs. And what you'll realize with this person in this fake scenario that we're giving here, will realize when they ask themselves, what would I have to believe for me to feel this way, for me to feel this fear and anxiety, is that they're racist. That's what they would realize. They're like, oh my God, I'm racist? But I have friends of all ethnicities and backgrounds. How could I be racist? Right? And that's because, well, that person maybe was programmed, that belief, by the media, by their parents, their friends, whatever their environment is, right? There could be many different factors, but they were programmed that belief that if a man of dark skin complexion, that's wearing a hoodie, that's tall, at night, is walking behind you, he's probably going to rob you or kill you or something. Which just isn't true. Mm-hmm. It just isn't true. Right? Because if you were to see the same scenario and it's a woman, you would look back and probably walk slower, not faster, right? So it's the beliefs that are guiding the interpretation, the meaning that we're giving to that experience. So again,
100%.
If you're feeling any emotion, okay, whether good or bad, this is the same thing, always. Before you feel that emotion, you're going to interpret it. You're going to interpret it. Again, because we're not looking at reality how it is, objectively. We're not experiencing this for what it is. We're filtering it. We're filtering it. It's like if you wear sunglasses, everything looks darker because of the lens. If you're wearing rose-colored shades, everything's gonna look rose-colored, right? What if your glasses are dirty, full of limiting beliefs and fears and negative self-talk? Then how are you going to experience the world around you? You're gonna filter it through the lens of, I'm a complete failure, it's not worth trying this or whatever, right? So why is this relevant to the law of attraction question? Because again, this is about how the person is filtering their outer reality, right? So the reticular activating system, if the person thinks they're lucky, they're going to see proof of that luck. It's like the confirmation bias. If
like whatever you think, you become, right?
Yeah, absolutely. If the person thinks they're unlucky, they're going to see proof of that. So when someone says, the law of attraction worked for me, I asked the universe for XYZ and it came true, it's not because some force out there provided that. It's because the person was focused on the thing that they wanted so much. They thought about it every single day that when opportunities arose that could lead them closer to that objective, they could see them. They couldn't miss them, right? And because they saw them, they grabbed them. And because they grabbed them, they reaped those.
They made that reality. Yeah.
Okay? So what is it really? It's visualization. It's knowing what you want and why you want it. So very important. Whatever your goals are, you need to think about them every single day. You need to write them down. You need to see them. You need to meditate on them so that you're able to see when opportunities arise that will bring you closer to your objectives. How do you do this? Every morning, all you need is 5 minutes. Close your eyes. Think about how your life would look like if it was lived at a level 10 in every facet of your life. Love life, family, friends, career, education, every aspect of your life, health, every aspect. If it was at a level 10, what would it look like? Picture that. Visualize it vividly. Crank up the colors. Crank up the brightness. Really see it and imagine yourself living that life. Constantly visualizing that is going to train your brain to see when there's an opportunity that will get you closer to that. That is the real law of attraction.
It's like when you first started it, you said whatever. Think of, let's say you. I tell you right now, close your eyes. Think of red. 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 Right. When you open your eyes, you're going to start noticing everything around you that's red. Right. This is the same thing you're doing, but in a whole different aspect. Right.
Yeah. So we didn't talk about that. I'll say it real quick for people that have never heard of this. So if I were to ask you, so please do this at home right now. If I were to ask you, you have 10 seconds to find out and spot as many things as you can that are red in the room that you're in, okay? Including what's...
I'm doing this myself.
Okay? So you have 10 seconds. When I'm done counting, close your eyes, okay? You need to memorize as many things that are red as you possibly can. All right, ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Close your eyes now. All right, so the question for you, if you're participating, is this. Can you call out as many items as you can in that room that are blue? You can't, can you? Now open your eyes, look around. You know what's interesting though is that the items you noticed and you remembered may have not been exactly red. They might have been burgundy or brown, you know? But because you wanted to give yourself credit, you know, you picked out those things too. Now let's do it one more time. Now with every item that's blue, go ahead, 10 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Close your eyes. Now, recall every single item that is yellow. You can't. Open your eyes. Realize that the things that you looked at may have not exactly been blue. Maybe they were teal towards green, right? The lesson here is, again, wherever you focus, that's where you're going to see, okay? So if you focus on the achievement of your goals, you're going to see opportunities that will bring you closer to those goals, right? So again, the law of attraction, it's not like, I mean, what are we, 5 years old? You're not going to sit here and ask the universe for a house and you're going to get a house. No, you got to work. You got to take action. Action is what brings about results. And that brings me to this.
Lance, before you continue on that, Larry asked, what do you think about terror management theory? And what's up, Jeff? What's up? I hope you're still tuned with us.
About what?
He says, what do you think about the terror management theory?
The what management?
Terror. I haven't heard of that one.
I've never heard of that. I don't know how to answer that question.
Me neither.
Interesting. Okay, so that brings me to this. So we talked about actions, okay? Now, everything starts with your beliefs, right? If you don't believe you can do something, if you don't believe you can achieve that goal that you have, you won't achieve it, okay? It starts with your belief, right? So your belief, okay, how much you truly believe you're capable of achieving that is what's going to dictate your potential, okay? It's what's going to determine how you see yourself in your mind achieving that or not achieving that, right? Do you see this as a possible future for you? Do you see yourself becoming a singer? Say if you want to be a singer. Do you see that as a possibility? Or do you think, or are you having a hard time seeing that because a part of you believes that a person like you from the family that you were brought up in could never become a star, right? So your beliefs are going to dictate the potential that you see for yourself. Let's take that example. If you want to be a singer and you believe that you can't because, you know, you were born poor and you don't have enough money and, you know, you're nobody in your family was into music, even though you love music, and, you know, people tell you can sing really well. Because of those beliefs, you're going to see zero potential. You're not going to see yourself as a possible star in the future. If you see zero potential, what kind of action are you going to take?
Little to none.
It's like, why would I try if I know I'm going to fail? That's right. That's what you think. But
why would I open the door if I know that it's locked?
Exactly. Little did you know.
Right.
Little did you know. All you got to do is turn the knob, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if you take no action, what kind of results are you going to achieve?
Nothing.
That's like saying, oh yeah, you know, I planted a bunch of apple seeds in my garden. I expect oranges next week. Or, you know, I expect a garden, but I haven't planted one seed. It just doesn't make sense, right? It's cause and effect, you know? What you do has consequences, right? As does what you don't do, right? So if you take action, that's going to have results. But if you don't, right, because you don't believe you could do that, you'll see no results. Now, what many people don't know is that feeds back into your beliefs. So when you stand...
It's like a circle.
It's an endless cycle. Yeah. It's a self-feeding beast. That's what it is. So when that person that, you know, loves singing and doesn't see themselves as a potential singer ever, or making money from it, when they take no action and see no results, they stand in front of the mirror. What are they going to say? They say, Mom was right, or my uncle was right, or I was right. This is not for me.
100%.
And the negative belief is reinforced because there's no results. Right? But the amazing thing is, if you change your belief, you could change everything else. So say she does believe she can do this. How much potential she sees for herself?
A lot.
Limitless potential, right? She thinks, well, I can do anything. If someone did it, so can I. Right? Why not? Right?
Yeah.
And from that belief, what kind of action is she going to take? Isn't she going to knock on every door because she does see her as one day being that star? Isn't she going to go to every audition? Isn't she going to go and pay for the vocal lessons? She's going to put in the work, right? What happens when you put in the work? You get results.
Astonishing results.
And then when she gets those results, and then she's, you know, in American Idol, and then she gets her own record and all that, and a record deal, she's going to stand in front of the mirror with those results in her hands, and she's going to say the same thing. I told you so. I knew you could do it. And that's going to also, again, feed back into the belief and reinforce that positive belief. And she's going to grow in her potential and what she sees as possible for her to accomplish. So everything starts with our beliefs. If you have limiting beliefs, if you think you're not good enough, if you think you can't open up your own business online or otherwise, if you think you can't succeed because nobody in your family has done the things you want to do, if you think you're not worthy of financial freedom or love and connection or happiness, those are just beliefs. They're just belief systems. If you change those beliefs, you change your life. And you don't have to wait a year or 2 years to change that. You can change your life in a moment. In a moment. You know, how is it that people come to me for all these things? You know, smoking. People have been smoking for 40 years. They have a really bad habit that's reinforced by negative beliefs. Beliefs like, I'm addicted to smoking, you know? Beliefs like, if I don't smoke, I can't relax, you know? How is it that in 2 hours, they never want to smoke ever again? They have no desire to smoke, no urge to smoke, no belief binding them to the cigarette. How? You know, even though they spent 40 years in that nasty habit. How? Same with fears, right? How long did you have that fear of heights and vomiting for?
A while, a few years.
Few years, right? I'll give you an example, you know, because a lot of people think, well, I've had this fear, whatever the fear is, for years. How can it be gone like that? You see, the time that it takes to eliminate a fear is not proportionate to the time that you've had that fear for, that it's been holding you back. I'll give you guys an example. Say there's a kid, he's 7 years old, he's never seen a spider in his life. He's in his bedroom, his mom walks in to say goodnight, and before she turns off the light, she sees a spider. She's scared of spiders, so she loses control. She screams off the top of her lungs. She calls her husband, honey, come kill the spider. There's a spider in Jimmy's room. Oh my God. He comes with a shoe or whatever, kills the spider. What has the kid learned? In his first exposure to a spider, spiders are dangerous.
They're dangerous, right?
We need to kill them. We shouldn't be around them. He's adopted a fear. You see, the only two fears you're born with, the fear of loud noises and the fear of falling. Every other fear you possess is a learned fear. And if it's a fear you have learned, it means you can unlearn it.
100%.
And it only takes this long for someone to adopt a new fear Well, guess what? It takes that long to get rid of it. Even if that person grows up and they're 27 years old and now they have a arachnophobia. They have a phobia against spiders, right? So again, you got to understand that fear is the only thing that stands in your way. Your limiting beliefs are the only things that stand in your way. We are the only thing that stand in our own way. And when we change your mindset, we change your life. The path opens up and we can take action, motivated action in the pursuit of our goals.
Great. So Lance, just to kind of like bring this to an end, we've gone a little bit over 2 hours now. Yeah. What's one thing that you would tell people that stuck with us throughout the whole life? We have 3 people right now. We've had over 10 consistently throughout the whole thing, 5, 10 consistently. So what's the one thing that you want them to stay with, and how can they get in contact with you if in case they might need some of your services?
Okay, so a couple of things I want people to stay with. Number one, now is a time of great uncertainty for a lot of people. Okay,
100%.
Now is a time of a lot of anxiety and fear, and rightly so. There are a lot of unanswered questions, and we don't know what's going to happen. But we never know what's going to happen, do we? Right? We don't.
No,
the future is always uncertain. We don't even know what's going to happen 5 minutes from now. So what I'd like to say is, ask yourself always when you're faced with uncertainty or anything negative, what's great about this? What is great about this? And that way you shift your focus, just like you're able to shift your focus by practicing gratitude. And what's great about this is that this is a great opportunity for growth, for working on ourselves, for, doing things that maybe we thought of doing before, but we never did because we said we don't have the time, or we don't know how. Now is the time to take advantage,
100% agreed.
Always is a great time to take action and to take advantage of this moment, right? But now more than ever, it's like most of us have a lot of free time, and we can use that to our advantage. We can use that to strengthen the connections between us and the people we love, between us and our customers. We can use the time to improve our brand, work on our website or whatever, to start a new business endeavor, to let go of the things that hold us back, to work on ourselves and on being better humans, Yeah, so that's
100%.
one thing that I'd like to bring up, because it's like the elephant in the room, right? So yeah, take everything a day at a time. Don't have a fixed mindset, have a growth mindset. Understand that, there's no such thing as failure, only learning opportunities.
100%.
Find something you're passionate about, find people that believe in your vision, collaborate, work together towards that. Don't give up, don't let fear hold you back. Don't let limiting beliefs hold you back. If there's something that really resonates with you, you have one life, go after it head on, And if you're interested in scheduling a session, a free consultation to find out how I can help you accomplish your goals and whatever that is, if it's letting go of a fear that you have, or a limiting belief, or a phobia, or anxiety, whatever it is, you can always reach out on Facebook, of course. You can always reach out through my website. That's 𝙈𝙤𝙘𝙚.com. You can see the reviews and testimonials and all that.
Also Instagram as well. What's your Instagram, Lance? So I can type it in here.
Mentalist. Lance Mentalist. LANCE. Mentalist.
Lance Mentalist.
Yeah, so that's my Instagram. That's my Twitter. And again, on the website, you can also see the testimonials and all that on the hypnosis page. So that's lancesinclair.com/hypnosis. You can see how a lot of people have benefited from this. And again, my promise is this: if I cannot help you, I will refer you to someone who can. To this day, I have not had to do that. I also promise 100% money back guarantee. My only concern, honestly, is that you get closer to that highest and best self. That person that performs at a level 10 in every area of your life. That's my deepest desire. And
awesome.
If we can work together to get you there, that would be wonderful. So
great. So thank you very much for joining us today, Lance, and thank you guys for the support, the interactions, the comments, and stuff like that. I really appreciate you guys, Lance. My deep appreciations go for you always, and thank you, brother. Appreciate it.
Thank you, bro. Thank you for inviting me, and I hope everyone got a lot of value from this. Please don't be shy. Reach out if you have any questions. I have time.
100%. Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.